Hi, good day, it's me, Jaycee, and welcome to Robot Showtunes Reviews, my very own YouTube channel where I get to review Transformers toys, Voltus 5 toys, Macross Robotech toys, Evangelion toys, and whatever the hell I want. And for today's episode, I'll be doing a 3-in-1 review of the legendary heroes Herr, Murphy, and Maverick. Now that's New Age Toys' take on G1 Prowl, Bluestreak, and Smokescreen, informally called the Dotson brothers because they share the same basic alt mode and transformation. Now I got Prowl online, of course from an online toy seller, Alvin Collectible, and I got Bluestreak and Smokescreen from Hobby Corner in Shopsville, Green Hills. So, here are the boxes. Front. And back, you have various artwork plus the warning labels. On the top, it's basically the same as what's on the bottom. Similarly, the sides are identical. Now let's see what's inside. Now, inside each box is a single clamshell that houses the main figure in robot mode, a gun, and a pair of shoulder-mounted weapons. You also have these wordless instructions, illustrated but wordless. It's the same for all three toys, except there is a special section for Smokescreen's transformation because it does differ in a few steps. Now, let's see. This is Prowl's gun. It is actually identical to Bluestreak's gun. They only differ in color. And the shoulder-mounted weapons are different for each of them. Here are Prowls, and these are Bluestreaks, and here, first of all, here's Smokescreen's gun. See how it differs from Prowl's and Bluestreak's. And here are Smokescreen's shoulder-mounted weapons. These thingies, hang on. These plug in to the slots at the sides of the head flaps. Okay, let's see. One over here and one over there. Okay, so that is it for accessories. So let's move on to articulation. Okay, as for articulation, you have the head on a ball peg. First of all, these weapons, you can swing up to there independently. And as for the head, it is on a ball peg, but the peg is not in the center of the head, but rather closer to the nape. You can look, so because of that, you can look way up like that, but only straight forward. And it does rotate 360, but because of the orientation of the peg, um, the axis of rotation is at an angle. So that means you can look side to side, but if you're going to, for whatever reason, make him face back, his head's gonna look, well, not really look, well, look like that. Well, anyway, and you can shrug the shoulders that high, and you can make them sag that low. Now, I have Smokescreen with me, because as you can see, their arms are designed differently. So the articulation might slightly differ. So for Smokescreen, can shrug up that high, that low. Prowl and Bluestreak, by extension, you can put his arm from down here, lift it up to there, and then twist it all the way, swing it all the way around. And for Smokescreen, let's see, swing it up, it hit, the tire hits his head. So if you want to raise his arm, you have to turn it instead of swinging it. So yeah, that also does a 360. Yeah, but it can't swing all the way up. Again, if you wanted that to pose his arm upward, you have to do it this way. Anyway, for all three, there is no bicep swivel, but it does swivel at the forearm because of a ball joint. The elbow is a combination ball joint, and there's a hinge, another hinge, so it does go all the way there. So hinge, ball joint. No swivel at the wrist, but it does swing back here. How do I show this? Swing it back here, because that's necessary for transformation. Now, the door wings, you can angle this far up, this far down, and that far back. You know, it would have been nice if in any iteration of these G1 characters that the position of their wings will reflect their emotions. Like they'll droop if they're sad, or they'll rise up with whatever positive emotion, like happiness, maybe anger. Well, anyway, to continue, let's see. You can, you do have a waist swivel, 360. You have an ab crunch, but it doesn't crunch at the ab. It's actually in the crotch, or so. And you can actually combine the two with limitations, like slightly there, crunch. But once it's near 90 or at 90 degrees, that becomes an obstruction, and you cannot employ or activate the ab crunch. Let's see. You can spread the legs side to side, spread them front to back. You have a thigh swivel. You have a double jointed knee. It's hard to show because this guy's got very blocky boots. Let's see, how do I... Okay. There. Get out of the way. Let's see. First joint, second joint. The second joint is actually for it's more important for transformation, but you can also use it for articulation. The feet, these very blocky boots, you can have the toe go all the way down. The ankle rocks outward, but not inward. And it's actually funny if you look at the side and without the tire in the way, it's like these guys are wearing high-heeled boots. Well, anyway, that's it for articulation. Now let's move on to size comparisons. So here are the Datsun brothers beside DX9 Warren Pocket Dutch or Optimus Prime. Let's see, put them back a bit. Now from the same line New Age toys, here they are with Flipper or Bumblebee. With Transformers Masterpiece Tracks. Yeah. When they grow up, they wanna be like Tracks. With Bandai High Metal Rs. That sounds so dirty. Bandai High Metal Rs. VF1D in Vatroid mode. And of course, last and definitely not the least, Funko Pop Death of the Endless. Now, let's get on with transformation. Okay, so to get started to transforming, remove the shoulder, let's see, shoulder mounted weapons, missile launchers. And what you want to do first is to rotate at the waist 180 degrees, and then you lift, first of all, make the head look as far up as it can go. Then you lift the entire front of the car. Then take the roof and windshield. You bring it back and fold this forward. There are two slots there for the two tabs here. So again, that's bring this back and fold this forward, tab in. Now the instructions say that you tab these two together, but I would do not advise that, because when you tab them together, what you need to do after is you have to jam the thighs into the boot. That's difficult to do together, because they move independently. So what I do first is I do it one by one. Let's see. Get one leg, fold this up, and then manipulate the thigh so that the parts of the thigh will accordion fold into the boot. And then when it's almost recessed, take the other foot, do the same. And once they're almost recessed, then you tab them together. Oops. And then there are these two hooks at the roof. So hook there. Grab the doors, bring up the windows, then close. Sometimes there will be some misalignment, so adjust as tightly as you can, and from there, let's see. So this is the position of the arms in robot mode. So what you do is to take one arm. Let's see. So yeah, make the wheels face that way. Then rotate at the elbow 180 degrees. Rotate at the elbow 180 degrees. And then bring them inside. Fold the hand in. Bring this inside. Fold the hand in. And there you have it. That's Bluestreak in car mode. Add to that, here's Prowl in car mode. And here is Smokescreen partially transformed, because like I said, the design is different for him slightly in the arms. So what you do is, so this is the position of the arms when he was in robot mode. What you do is break here, break there. Same on the other side. Break here, and then accordion fold it there. So it will resemble the arms of the other two. So it looks like that. So, and then it's the same. So turn this 180, fold the hand in, the fist in, turn this 180, put it in, and put everything inside. This is actually tighter, because if you noticed a while ago, I can put this up and then fold it in and then pull it back down. What do you say? Smokescreen doesn't have that point of articulation, so it's a tighter. What you can do is break this here, then put it in, and then put it back. It's one way of doing it. It's kind of messier, but yeah, it can be done. Yeah. So here you have Smokescreen in his race car mode. Alrighty, now again, for size comparisons, here are the Datsun brothers with DX9 Warren Pocket Dutch, or rather Optimus Prime. From the same company, New Age Flipper, or Bumblebee. With Masterpiece Tracks. And with Bandai High Metal R's. VF1D Valkyrie. And since we can't get enough of her, Funko Pop Death. And now, let's move on to my final thoughts. Okay, cons here. I'll show you something. Prowl has this nasty little blemish under his chin. I presume that was where his face was cut off from a sprue. Smokescreen, on the other hand, let's see, his undercarriage is too tight because of this extra hinge here, so the head doesn't quite fit. You have to choose between two evils, decide what's the lesser one. You can have his head hang low, which kind of hampers rolling, or you can try to jam his head in, but his wheels stick out, so one or both of these white stripes will misalign if you do that. So you can either have his head hang low, the stripes are aligned, or you can tuck his head in, but the stripes are broken. Up to you. Or if there's a better way to do that, I don't know what it is. Ask the expert, which is, well, apparently not me. And judging from Bluestreak's weapon, I always assumed it was some kind of projectile. It fires solid projectiles, so there ought to have if that's so, there ought to have a hole there. It's just a solid piece, unless this whole front thing launches as a missile. It could be that, or maybe it's. But I'm pretty sure I saw in the tunes that this has a hole for where the projectiles get out. And let's see. Pros, of course. You've seen how tune accurate these new age toys have been so far. Let's see, there are minor character-driven variations in the sculpt that give them personality and make them not feel like clones of each other, which is what they kind of are. I mean, they could have taken the easy road and just went with a different head for each of them, but there are variations. One thing is the arms. The biggest, most obvious variation is Smokescreen's arms. Let's see. I'm sure Prowl's hips. Let's see. Yeah, let's get just so we can look at it. Yeah, these are Prowl's hips. I believe they differ from Bluestreak's. Hold on. Show me your hips, gentlemen. Let's get some light here. It's kind of dark. Well, if it doesn't show, it's kind of, yeah, it is kind of dark. Ugh. Anyway, just take my word for it. The hips are designed differently. Smokescreen. What do your hips look like, Smokescreen? Oh, and as you can see, yeah, Prowl has paint on his hips. Bluestreak doesn't. That's probably why it doesn't show that much, because they're plain solid color. And Smokescreen's hips are actually like Prowl's, except they're not at all painted. Oh, there. The front is kind of different. They're not the same. I'm not talking about the paint. There's design. Let's see. Prowls and Bluestreaks are the same. It's Smokescreen who's different. Anyway, the point is those minor variations give them personality, distinct personalities. Like if I weren't familiar with these characters and the show, these would be my impressions of them. Harry, or Prowl, is the handsome, seraphic, chaste angel of justice, while Murphy, he's my favorite. I wasn't expecting that because he kind of looked very drab in the toon, but here the colors kind of toon accurate, but also improves on them. This gray is actually kind of tan, slightly metallic, and I just love these blood red accents in robot mode. Well, anyway, my impression of Murphy's is the typical 80s era macho man, because look at the colors. It's very 80s and very masculine. The grayish brown, the black hood and roof. And lastly, you have Maverick, the eternal adolescent who's into loud rock and fast driving. Look at it. I've messed them up. Anyway, that's all for this episode. Like this video and subscribe to this channel if it so please you. Like us on Facebook, and once again, many thanks for sacrificing your time at the altar of the gods of utter nonsense. Till next time, the Datsun brothers and I say and bid you goodbye.